this? Okay. Does anybody know where this is? This is a depiction of Cortez. So it's the Spaniards coming into the Aztecs.
Is that the Capitol building?
That is the Capitol building.
Surprise.
This is in the rotunda in the Capitol building. Okay? Why the heck on our Capitol building do we have a picture of the Mayan calendar? Okay.
You're talking about the one here in Arizona, or our
Washington, D.C., in the rotunda of the Capitol building.
Yeah.
Above which they have a picture of George Washington ascending into being a god. Okay? Part of the reason that I bring this up is that there is a bit of a quote-unquote conspiracy theory that, a bit, that the powers that be want you to believe that the end of the long count is December 21st, 2012. That they want you to be in fear. That they want to point you in that direction. And let me tell you what else. I'm going to go over this really quickly because there's a lot of numbers, but I want to lead you into a path. Okay, so remember about Washington, D.C., and remember about the rotunda. Okay? A gatoon is another Mayan calendar. Within the long counter periods, those gatoons, which are roughly 20 years or tunes, so it's 20 rounds of 360 days. Okay? For each gatoon, the Maya formulated specific prophecies written in Shalom Balam. Each gatoon is prophecy would repeat every 260 years. And we see this number over and over again. Okay, 260, same as the Zolkeen. And oh, by the way, is everybody familiar with fractals? Fractals is something, if you picture like a lightning bolt, if you look at a lightning bolt in its entirety, you know what a lightning bolt looks like, right?
Yeah, it's just one up there.
Oh. So if anyone is not familiar with a lightning bolt, just look out the window and another one will appear any moment for us.
You're talking about the whole Mandelbrot.
The Mandelbrot set,
How long
exactly.
did it take you to arrange that, by the way?
Yeah. Hey, we're all manifesting, right? What a fractal is if you look at it very close up, it's the exact same as when you look at it as whole. So if you look at a lightning bolt as the whole, and if you were able to put it under a microscope and able to look at a small little piece of it, it would look exactly the same. So now we're seeing the 260 years, or 260 years here. We have 260 in the Zolkeen calendar. We have 26,000 years in the precession of the Equinox. We're talking about birthing world ages, right? 26,000 years. And what's the human gestation cycle about? 260 days. Okay. So 260 gatoons equals one long count, 5,125 years. Again, just go with me. I'm just showing you the importance of gatoons. 20 gatoons is one baktoon. 13, and again, we're seeing these numbers again. 13 and 20. 13 baktoon is one long count. And 13 gatoons is one short cycle. Okay? A lot of numbers. Just go with me here. Okay? Look familiar? This is why, this is where we're going. There's 13 levels on this. 13 times 4 equals 52. There's 52 weeks in a year. However, what's more important is there's 52 years in their calendar round, which we talked about very briefly earlier. Every 52 years is when they come together and have their ceremonies, talk about the energies and whether or not they were going to live or not. Okay? 13 gatoon equal one short count. Okay? This date right here equals 1776. Okay? Now follow me, we've got one more slide on this. Okay? 13 levels. One gatoon equals 20 years. Okay? We start at 1776, we end in 2012.
So what is the purpose?
Now, you know, you could say, well, Kathy, come on. I mean, there's 13, huh?
It's the end of the experiment.
It's the end of the experiment. Well, But you know, I looked at this and I look at everything with a bit of a skeptical eye, you know, and I'm like, okay, 13 levels, there's also 13 colonies. For the longest time, I never shared this information until I came across this. This was found in 1984 in Guatemala. They cannot date this because when they excavated it, they left it out in the sun too long to be able to do the proper type of dating with it. However, this has 13 levels. It has the all-seeing eye up on top. For those of you playing along with the Sumerians, it kind of looks like a serpent eye or a reptile eye. And if you turn this over, on the bottom side of it, there's actually a map. Have you seen this? Yeah. If you turn it over, there's a map of Orion's belt, which, oh, by the way, this is very similar to the Great Pyramid, and the 3 pyramids are on the line of the Orion's belt. Now, what else is on the other side of this is ancient writing that they have not been able to translate yet. It looks like ancient Sanskrit, as if Sanskrit isn't ancient enough. It looks like it's old, ancient Sanskrit. This does not tie into the Great Seal. But I wanted to leave it in here because they always picture them together, and it is very interesting because they believe that it's a snake. Okay, and we talked about the serpent coming down. I'm sorry?
It's a DNA molecule.
That's what I thought at first too, and I haven't seen anybody else say that.
Wait, what did you say?
Because it's not
It's a
helix.
yeah, that it looks like a DNA molecule. Flat DNA molecule. But what they point to is that there's 7 of those points there, and they at that time they acknowledged 7 chakras. Okay, so they believe that it goes back to the 7 chakras, and that there's also I didn't show you, but the Mayan numbers are primarily lines and dots. So the 7 would be 1 line, which also goes back to the human body because this would be a 5, a bar is a 5, and then a dot, each dot is a 1. So a 7 is a bar with 2 dots. And they're looking at this as a 7 because it's got the 2 dots. Now it also kind of looks like the mouth and the nose. And they say that it looks like a serpent. And with this, they also go into talking about the Kundalini, which the Maya also represented. They talked about the Kundalini as lightning blood, and they recognized the Kundalini in the spine and the enlightenment. But this kind of blows out the theory that the 13 levels are because of the 13 colonies.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something else that we don't know. That people knew things that we're just finding out. Okay, so the Mayan calendar is also tracking the evolution of consciousness. Okay. This is a replica of the Koba stone that was found in the 1940s, 12 foot by 7 feet high, and basically Carl Kalaman is the scientist who started researching this stone. He went down to Guatemala and the Yucatan, and he got hooked, just like so many people do, and he made it his life's work. So what the heck is this evolution of consciousness? So first of all, I purposely put this picture back here. This is the very famous pyramid at Chichen Itza, which is also called the Pyramid of Kukulkan. And Kukulkan is another name for Quetzalcoatl, who we talked about earlier, who's also known in Egypt as Thoth. And in here we see 9 levels, and you can see them here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? And all their pyramids all had so much meaning to them, and it's hard to see in this picture. There's a little head right here and a little head right here. On March 21st every year, the way the sun comes up, there's a shadow that snakes along the side. And again, we see snake and reptile and serpent and references in so many ancient cultures. So we see the 9 levels here. Okay? The evolution of consciousness is 9 steps. And each step, so this is the very first step in the 9, is broken into 13 sections. 7 days and 6 nights. Sound familiar? Again, kind of like the Bible.